Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the meeting is called to order at 5:32. And we have a quorum. We have Charlie and Henrietta and Woody. And, oh, there's our new secretary, Donna. Hi, Donna.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you for
Can
joining.
you can you hear me?
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay, and we can hear you.
Okay, good.
But anyway, so these are our members. Can you see all of them?
I
Charlie?
can, yep. I
Okay.
was watching the the last meeting video, so I think I have a sense of who's there, although I didn't hear you call roll, so I think there is a new face there.
We have Henrietta.
I was on Zoom last time.
She was on Zoom last time.
Yep.
Okay, Charlie Jackson.
Charlie, I have not met. Okay.
Say hello.
Say hello, Charlie.
So
you
the owl will
talk.
pick you up.
Hi,
Oh.
Charlie.
It's Robert Woodruff, sometimes known as Woody.
Yes, I do recognize you from the last meeting.
Okay. And we have a visitor here, Pels Matthews, who is a realtor, who is going to be included in this meeting as well. So, the meeting is called to order. Charlie, you probably don't have a copy of the minutes that were from the last meeting because, anyway.
Because they
we
just got finished.
No, I printed it out, I got it, so you keep.
Is that from August?
Yeah, August.
You have
Oh, no,
August?
no, you're right.
Yeah, okay. All right. So does anybody have any corrections or additions to the minutes? I think you did a great job, Donna.
Thank you. I tried to get the high points, not understanding everything. Michelle helped a lot.
Good. Thank you, Michelle. Anybody have,
Motion to approve?
do we want to make a
Motion to
motion?
approve.
Okay, Charlie's making a motion to approve, a second.
I'll second that.
Oh, and Daryl, I forgot Daryl's on the phone as well. So we have a full
Oh, okay.
cohort.
Everybody's here.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, great.
All in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
To approve the minutes. Okay.
Aye.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to change the order of the agenda. Because I would like to have Pels Matthew. Why don't you come and join us over here? So I had sent out letters to 3 real estate firms to ask for their input on short-term rentals. You know, and then did send a few of the questions that Woody had written up. Do you all have a copy of what this? This is.
Yeah, I made my own. Do you have this? I revised them from the ones in the minutes.
Right.
They're much more pointed.
Right, yeah.
And I was interested in.
Do you have this one? Okay. Okay, and you know, some of these maybe don't apply to you, Pels, but so we really would like your input on short-term rentals and, you know, the effect that short-term rentals have on the housing market and what people are looking for in town, you know, when they come looking for
Yeah, I
housing.
mean, rentals as a category is a sort of its own animal versus housing.
Yeah,
When I think about, is this a rental for someone who is a non-resident? Or is it for someone who's going to live full-time in a property? Those are very different propositions and very different tools, both of properties available and demand. So, you know, I see personally a lot of demand for And for me, a short-term rental is anything less than a year. Okay, so I don't just say a short-term rental is a daily rental like Airbnb, which is effectively a hotel substitute. Although there are people who use Airbnb and the other main platform, which is VRBO, also known as HomeAway. They use those platforms for longer than open daily rentals. But you have to break it down and you have to look at, okay, let's just take those rentals that are quote unquote hotel or vacation replacements. There are rooms in houses. There are apartments above garages, in-law apartments, there are things like that. And then there are full houses, full homes that are available. So there's three different categories of things that are available. The real estate community in town is primarily only going to be involved with the houses, the full house rentals, and sometimes, these sort of apartment-y type situations. If you're renting out a room in your house for $200 a night for either extra income or, whatever, real estate agents like me and any other agent, we're not involved. We don't get involved in that. It's just too much hassle, too much work for no remuneration, frankly, for us. And it's just not what we do.
Do people come and ask you for those types of places or not?
For example, I had a woman come in the other day. She lives in Nantucket. She has parents in an assisted living facility, not in Washington, but nearby. And she wanted to rent a house for 3 months while her mom's going through some chemotherapy treatments and to be near her mom. That's a pretty typical, for me, short-term tenant.
Okay.
The other typical short-term things that I do are, the shortest would be ski season renters or summer renters. So summer renters can typically be 1, 2, or 3 months. August, July being most popular, June being tougher, but sometimes it's Memorial to Labor Day. The next would be ski season, which is, December 15 to March 15. People go ski at Mohawk, they put their kids in the ski program, they rent. School year rentals. These are largely private school parents who either want to helicopter their kids, or their kids are going to be a day student and they're going to rent a place here and the parents will move here, or the parents will trade off, or some of them, God forbid, they rent houses so their kids have somewhere to go on the weekends and don't get in trouble at school. I've seen it happen. And then the last thing I do is sort of annual rentals, and those are, people who are building a house, people who are displaced by a fire, and these are all furnished rentals, which is very, very different than unfurnished rentals.
All of these that you're
All of
speaking
these that
about,
I'm
right.
speaking about are furnished rentals. So, anyone who rents a property in Connecticut for less than 89 days is in theory liable for the first 30 days of occupancy, short-term occupancy tax. The two platforms, Airbnb and VRBO HomeAway, collect those taxes and pay those taxes direct to the state if you utilize those services. As a homeowner, if you rent directly, or if you rent through a broker like me, the homeowner is technically liable for that tax. I would say the collection rate for most private landlords is sub 10% probably. I mean, most people don't even know they have the obligation.
So that tax is over and above any income tax you would pay on the rental income?
So if you leased a house for 2 months for $10,000 a month, you would in theory owe a 15% tax on the first month's rent to the state of Connecticut.
Just on the first.
Just on the first 30 days. If the lease was for 90 days, you would owe no rent because the tax goes away. The state considers residency at 90 days. So anything short of that. Now, there are some people in town who do a lot of direct renting, who do collect and pay the rent, but that's generally one person. You can all guess who that is. And his business is rentals. Even he owns 20-something houses in the greater Washington area, and it's a rental business. And he's doing it, in houses that he bought, Roxbury, Washington, and Warren. And he has been doing it for 20 years.
St. Posh Paths.
Yes, so he's actually got most of them for sale.
Who's that, Judy?
It's called,
Posh Pads.
it's I mean, it's his business.
Yeah.
He does for a living. And there are times when it's very, very good, and there are times when it's very, very difficult for him. 2 months of empty, he's got mortgages on most of that stuff,
Right.
it's dipping in his pocket. But he's running a business, and so, he is and in fact, you're supposed to register with the state of Connecticut as a short-term rental operator. I tell all my landlords, these are your obligations. Do they do it? I don't know, and I don't have the time to chase it. Right.
Well, it shouldn't be your
Here,
responsibility.
so it's not my if you use Airbnb or VRBO, Airbnb and VRBO charge that tax to the tenant on top of the rent. So if I'm a landlord, I want to rent my house for a weekend on Airbnb, I tell them I want $1,000 a night for a 3-night minimum. You put it on Airbnb, Airbnb, they match you up with someone, you approve them, that you get paid the $3,000. Airbnb also charges them 15% on top of that, that you don't see. Airbnb collects it and Airbnb pays it. Because the way it works is the state has determined whoever collects the rent is the short-term operator. So in those cases, those services are collecting the rent before it comes to you, the landlord. That's why I don't collect rent. Don't give me a check for the rent. I don't collect it. So all my landlords collect rent for the rentals I do. Anyone who rents their house in town is in theory subject to paying personal property tax on all the contents of their house, if it's a furnished rental. Our friendly assessor here, she watches our websites like a hawk, and she sends out due bills to people who, even if they just list their house for rent, they may not even have rented it. So I end up having to write letters saying, yeah, we listed the house, but it didn't rent. So that, they're not gonna pay the tax. And she has a formula, every business in town has to pay property tax at the mill rate on your business inventory and supplies and stuff. And she views your furniture as your business inventory that you're using to generate your rental income. It's a fixed formula. She charges per bedroom. It makes no sense to me, right? You could have a house full of IKEA furniture or a house full of gold furniture. And your rents could be $200 a night and $200,000 a night. She charges the same. I mean, it would be a nightmare to inventory,
Yeah.
value everyone's contents. So I understand why she does it, but it's, I mean, I have lots of reasons why it's fine and not fine, but that happens in the rental market. The unfurnished rental market is almost non-existent. Okay, almost non-existent. And that is, the housing trust, it is other people, the guy who owns, all the units next to GW. There are a handful. There are a handful of people who have maybe bought the house next to them and they rent it out, and they've had a long-term tenant there who furnished it themselves. But they're not many. And that's, if your mandate is to address affordable housing in town, it's just that's the part that's sorely lacking. There's plenty of $10,000 and $20,000 a month rentals. Plenty. And
Maybe I could
or full.
ask this question then. I got interested in short-term rentals as a member of this group. Because I found out that in Nantucket and in Provincetown and in 5 or 6 communities on the West Coast in Oregon and Washington, they have been able to rig up an organization that has enticed short-term rental owners to convert to year-long leases at a lower rate than ordinarily one would get for the weekend employees. But with the assurance that it's fully rented the whole time. But I think there is a supplement that they have to come up with to convince the owners to convert.
They subsidize
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if it's
Interesting.
subsidized, I don't,
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of short-term rentals, that would rent for a year if they got somebody at a good price. The challenge can be that during the good seasons, they just can make a lot more money doing short-term rentals. I mean, I have a house, I think it's worth 6,000 a month. You know, she's like, I'm making 8 to 10 doing short-term rentals, and it's only occupied half the time.
Yeah.
Now, there's more wear and tear, because there's usually more people, she's paying utilities, she's paying for turnover, she charges a cleaning fee, so that covers the cleaner, but, you know. If I have a 1-year tenant in there, they pay the lawn, they pay the electric, they pay the heat, they pay, you know, snowplow, so, you know. Most of the people doing short-term rentals are opportunistic, right? Like I'll sell a house to somebody who's a weekender, they know they're only gonna be here 2 weekends a month. So for the 2 weekends they're not here, they have it on Airbnb, they accept a rental at their price, great, if not, okay, whatever, I'll come up, I'll use the house or whatever. There are others, there's one on the lake, there's actually a couple on the lake. There's Steve and Posh Pads, there's some others who really need that income to keep those houses or to make that, have them make sense. But a big chunk of the people are somewhat opportunistic. And, you know, I don't have exact numbers, and I think it'd be very difficult to get exact numbers. But I would estimate there's at least 20 to 30 houses that are short-term rentals just on Airbnb and VRBO. I'm not talking about my stuff, which is 1 month and longer. I won't do shorter rentals than that. That's a whole nother
Yeah.
20, 30 houses at least, and you know, Clem has some and Pitt has some, and you know, there's lots of people who go to Nantucket for the month of August, so they rent their house out for the month of August. They get 25 grand, it pays their taxes, yeah. There are probably at least 10 apartment situations around. People who've got a, you know, little apartment above their garage or their in-law basement. They do either Airbnbs or annuals, some of them. And then rooms, individual rooms, I have no idea, like I just don't track that, and. You know, I'm sure there are lots of people out there who, you know, have an extra bedroom, their kids are gone. If it has enough privacy, they might rent it for once in a while. I know someone tried to do kind of a yurt camps, a couple people did yurt camp setups on their property where they basically built tents on platforms. And they rented them out on Airbnb.
Did it
I-
work?
It got shut down.
Well, one of them got shut down by zoning. I don't know if the other one got shut down.
I was at a couple of those meetings. That was an interesting
But
conversation.
I mean, you know, look, I mean, they're running businesses in residential zones, right? So, you know, there is a real argument about that,
Mhm.
but, you know, if you rent your house for, at any time, it's considered business income. What's the
Hey,
difference?
guys, can I ask a question?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Daryl.
What, and and maybe I missed something at the beginning of the whole conversation. What's the zoning commission's drive behind this line of questioning to Pels to begin with?
Well,
It's not
Not the
zoning.
zoning.
Or not
it's-
zoning,
it's-
housing, I'm sorry. What is our line of questioning aimed to get out of Pels? And the reason I'm asking is, you know, I agree with some of the things he's saying, but I've got 6 apartments over at Titus. I've got a house in Sherman and I've got a house here in Washington that I'm actively renting. And if the housing commission is looking for, I mean, if you were to ask me what the housing commission should build, we should build an apartment building. Because the list of people that I have asking for a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, even a 3-bedroom apartment is 2 pages long. I get, to Pell's point, I get charged for every refrigerator I have over at Titus. I get charged for every oven, every microwave, every dishwasher. But there is an absolute need. I interviewed, in fact, if Eric helped me interview, we interviewed a guy for our house over in Sherman the other day. And within 1 day of having a house over in Sherman listed, we had 6 applicants. There is such a need. The youth of America doesn't want to own a home anymore, in my opinion. They don't want to deal with some of the things homeownership comes up with. They want to simply, they're so busy with the kids and everything else. This one guy who's a pilot has 2 kids. He's got no time to do anything. We're renting this house in Sherman to him. He's going to do the lawn. He's going to do the snow plowing. He's going to take care of the gardens,
Yeah.
his own electric bill, his own power bill or cable bill. All we're going to pay is taxes and insurance on the building.
Right.
Daryl, I think, and I'm gonna interject here a little bit, probably what you guys are thinking is, does short-term housing take away from the housing stock available to other people?
Yeah, right.
And the obvious answer is, of course it does, because it takes units off the market. But the real answer is 95% of those units are not affordable anyway, so they don't meet your they're like, they don't help you. Doesn't help that
Right.
Sleeper gets a $2 million house at the Airbnbs for $2,000 a night. Who cares?
Right.
It's like, this is a resort town now.
Yeah.
It's what it is, right? And I think if you guys really want to address housing that's actually affordable and workforce and,
Yes.
you need to bond $25-30 million in building, right? Like, that's just it. And the mill rate has to go up by 4 mils. There's no other way that you're gonna accomplish it biting off one unit at a time with Habitat for Humanity. I mean, you've lost that battle. The ship has sailed. Okay? And, to Daryl's point, when stuff is available, like we have this 10-bedroom house on Route 202. A guy tried to buy it to do a boarding house. He got so much, from zoning, he walked away. He's like, I'm not dealing with this now. This is nuts. Now, that place needs a ton of money,
Yeah,
right? It's not gonna be an inexpensive fix. But, I look at the Rumsey Hall building on Sunny Ridge. I think you guys are nuts not to buy that.
okay.
Absolutely nuts.
It would be a huge philosophical, change, but
That's it.
It's
but
900,000.
we should.
Rumsey
look
Hall
at it.
School,
It
if you
means that-
go to them and say, we're gonna put affordable housing in your thing and zoning's gonna work with you. It's a house pre-1955, so you got rights to put, to divide
To
it
make it
up.
multifamily,
to
what
make-
is it? Tell us about.
It's $995,000. It's 4 units. Like, Daryl, you know the building well, right?
You're talking about Rumsey's?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I agree. And Michelle, I mean, what do you mean a philosophical change? I mean, is there something in the housing commission that we can only do single family houses? I mean, we can't do
No.
apartment buildings?
No.
The question is that you have to change your whole business plan.
Well,
I mean, the fact is that we're reliant entirely on somebody else to get the property and build the home.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
relying on the trust.
And that's not enough.
So-
They're never gonna be able to get enough donated to them to be able to do it. The city, the town is gonna have to come up with money that they either put into a sinking fund and give to us, to give to the trust or to anybody else.
well,
That's the only way it work.
that we have, that's the fund
But
that
it's
we
not
have.
enough.
That's not
It's not,
It's a
no.
It's ridiculous.
Right, and so,
But-
but there are companies out there, and I'll use a Washington-based residence company, Vessel Technologies. He will build affordable housing, but he needs water and sewer, or he needs help figuring out how to deal with those 2 items. Because the health code and all that stuff is a nightmare. So he's only doing it in places in Connecticut that where he can tap into sewer and public water. Because if you have over 22 people, it's a water system. And it's subject to all sorts of
Yeah, and
painful
well,
stuff.
yeah, we're restricted here.
Right, but it's all over. And so if the town said, all right, we'll own and operate the water system. And we will allow you to have septic on this site for 25 units or whatever his minimum is to make scale. He's got a project going in Bethel right now. It's getting a lot of pushback from neighbors. I mean, everybody says they need it, but nobody wants it next to them. That's gonna be you're gonna have that fight on Wickham for sure. You got the land for free, that's great, but that's gonna be a super expensive site to develop. And, people underestimate. I mean, I think I saw somewhere your budget for engineering is $300 or $400. It's a
Yeah.
drop in the bucket. You're gonna spend double that before you're done. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
It is.
And construction costs are crazy. And the only way that Bessel can do it is they're prefabbing this stuff in Pennsylvania. It's all prefab. And it doesn't look like Washington housing, right? It's these, white 3-story buildings.
Very square. I've looked
You,
at a
you
lot of
got, you
those.
gotta like, town has gotta say, our zoning is out the window for this stuff.
I think-
Otherwise, you're never gonna get it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think
Telluride
the
did a
minimum.
$45 million bond.
I mean, technically, it is out the window. If somebody came in and said, I'm gonna develop this property, and it's
Yeah.
gonna be,
You gotta go through you gotta apply, get rejected, take them to court. I mean, it's a giant pain.
well,
And if you actually want it, you gotta embrace it. You gotta offer them tax breaks. You gotta be willing to take on the water part. You gotta make it easy. And everybody here,
The
besides
town
you
needs to-
guys, makes it hard.
yeah, the town has to take it on.
And that has to be
And they-
driven by the citizens, right? If the citizens want it, town hall should figure out a way to do it. I'm constantly frustrated by this sense that zoning is this Bible, that came down from the Temple Mount. I mean, zoning is 100% arbitrary, 100% decided by the citizens. How come in one town it's a 10-foot setback, another town it's 30, another town it's 25? How come lot coverage is 20% and 50, and it's all arbitrary? If we
Have you
want,
guys seen,
we should be able to
have you
change
guys seen the signs around? Have you guys seen the signs around town saying Pels Matthews for zoning? I have. In fact, I've actually started installing them, in fact. He brings up a lot of valid points, and all he needs to,
Daryl, I just put my house in town under contract to sell. I did make an offer on something, but it's not gonna get accepted.
Well, I don't wanna feel too defensive about this, but
Yeah.
number 3 goal of our 5-year plan for this town we live in says support the development of affordable rental options for seniors and young people. It sounds like it's just going down a rabbit hole. It's not
Well, I
worth
mean,
the,
it's
it's a waste
doable,
of time.
it's doable, but you gotta take big bites. I think to actually affect real change. Otherwise, you're just,
Well,
That's
and
the
that's what
large,
we've just been
right?
moving the needle very slowly,
Yeah.
but the Judea Springs on Wickham Road.
yeah. I mean,
Was rentals.
It's
You know,
rentals,
that's
yeah,
what we're looking at.
that,
It's multifamily,
yeah.
but it's keeping in character,
I know,
single family
yeah,
home,
yeah.
look.
unless there's a threat, it's not gonna change. I mean, we could sit here and keep doing what we're doing, which is a good thing. But it's going to be small bites. And
Yeah.
It's gonna be very small bites. I mean, I
Is
think,
it 440 that we need to have? How many do we really need to have? To
How many?
meet
Well, we're
the
supposed to
demand?
come up with 30
30,
by 27.
is that to get a moratorium on?
No,
No, it's
Yeah.
just it was in the
The
plan.
plan.
But it's also the 10%.
the state,
Yeah.
that's the state's.
Yeah.
The state says you have to have
And
10%.
I'm not unconvinced that the state doesn't pass state zoning at some point, just to stop all this. There's gonna be statewide zoning, like, there might be crazy pushback and all kinds of fighting over it, but it's coming.
I-
well,
I-
let me ask a question. If Pels, to your point, the old Eagle Rest 202, it's a 10-bedroom thing. Why doesn't, and again, maybe I'm just speaking out of turn and I apologize. Why can't the zoning commission consider buying that building, putting 10 or 5 2-bedroom apartments in there, and there's a start? I just, just because he's asking 900,000, he'll settle for 750. We put 150 into the septic and then another $300,000 or $400,000 into the building. We've got we'll have $1.4 million tied up, and we're the housing commission.
So, Daryl, truthfully, I think the timing is right to at least try, put together a proposal. How much, put some real numbers behind what you just said, knowing that it's just an estimate. And bring it to the Board of Selectmen. I mean, right now, the town has said we're not in the business of owning. We are not landlords.
But they
We
don't
will
have to be.
fund, but we don't wanna be landlords. So we would have to figure out.
Well, why can't the town buy it and give it to the trust?
If we could, probably,
I mean,
but
that's the whole-
we just have to put together a
There's
proposal.
nothing to stop
and
us
give
from.
to them and see what they think.
If the town buys the property and then donates it to the trust takes over, they own it and they develop it, do it the way they've done with, I don't know how many houses and apartments so far.
Well, this does get us back to, I'm nervous about the bandwidth of the trust. Cause they're building on Baldwin, they're pre-development on, Wickham and Judea Springs.
But a
Yeah,
lot of
but
it is
they've got-
money hold up too.
Well, yeah, but they've also got massive repairs that need to happen,
Yes, at Dodge Farm.
at Dodge Farm, so they're already managing three complexes, right? So they have it's big, and then to take on a huge renovation, I'm not saying.
It's
you should-
expensive stuff, right? This is really expensive stuff to deal with. You're gonna have asbestos, lead paint. I mean, that building on 202, Daryl, is gonna need more than $1 million into it to make it 5 apartments.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I was thinking 750, but you know, you might be right with $1 million. But at the end of the day, I think no matter who's into it, they're into it for $1 million, $1.5 million, $1.7 million, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
And you know, if you had 5 2-bedroom apartments in there at $16,000 to $2,000 a month, which is more than fair for affordable housing. You know, I'm not saying there's meat at the end of the bone, but you know, I don't think we're in it to make money. We're into it to supply affordable housing.
Right, and I think if you did that building and you did the Nettleton and the Sunny Ridge building, you got, you know, 9 units that you put into the market. You know, how you guys allocate who can rent them, you have to work here, like all those rules, that's up to you guys. I don't wanna get involved in that. But there were some other questions that I just wanna get to before we get off the track here. Will workers live during the week only? I don't know, like, I can't imagine anybody who's working let's just call it a service level job, or somebody who's making under $100,000 a year is gonna wanna have 2 houses. I don't know, that just seems weird to me. I don't know. And I don't like this question of whether weekenders be willing to rent out their houses during the week. Pretty much a hard no.
Okay, well,
I
good
just
to know
I
that.
just don't see it, right? I mean, they have a hard time letting me in sometimes, right? When I'm trying to sell their house, right? There are cameras everywhere. I mean, it's just, to me, it seems like even if a couple people would say yes, it wouldn't be worth the hassle of trying to figure out how to organize and manage that. There may be other areas that have figured it out on scale. We just don't have scale. You have to realize, like, 20 or 30 rentals in Airbnb, it sounds like a lot, and it's a lot for the size of our town, but it's not a lot for trying to run an organization that's gonna manage that. It's tiny, and there's no, there's not enough scale, and that's one of the problems, like, people come to me and say, oh, so-and-so sold their house and was 4 bidders, and like, there were 4 buyers for the $1 million house last weekend, 3 of them bought, and now there's crickets, right? 3 or 4 people can totally change a market. I mean, I think year to date in Washington, there's like 36 sales. 34, 36, like, not that many.
No,
It's a tiny little market. And, I have to look at it as a much bigger geography. I'm not defined by the zip codes, which are a whole nother issue.
yeah,
But, the reality is, I think if this town wants to lead, they need to swallow the apple whole. The mill rate might go from 10 to 14. Build 30 apartments.
Well, I don't know why
I'm just-
we would want to lead. I mean,
Well, because
what do you get out of leading?
Well, because we
Fair.
solve for something that is an announced issue. We don't have enough affordable housing. If you wanna create affordable housing, you gotta make everybody pay for it. And I don't think you can just think, oh, let's get donations. Cause let me tell you, the 40 people that give 70% of the money in this town,
No, put up 3 more speeding cameras.
Well, okay, but how about if we do that, how about if we collect the money, not the company that puts up the cameras? We
Exactly.
get like 25% of the revenue,
No,
0.
we're getting it all.
Oh, we are now?
Yeah.
Does it hit a cap and,
No,
well, so my understanding was there was a very large chunk of the revenue that went to the company that put it up. 'Cause we had paid,
well, because we chose not to, budgeted money to install them,
Yeah, anyway.
but anyway,
What,
yeah.
but
no.
also, look, those speeding cameras, the more they move around, the more there are, the revenue's gonna slow down. It's a different issue, but
Well,
I live
everybody will
on
slow
Litchfield
down.
Road, and I love it. Except my son got 6 tickets, so.
yeah, I
Maybe,
mean,
maybe everyone will just.
Slow learner. I got one too, but I was glad because I
Most of
drive
them
too
in one
fast.
day. You got most of them in one day.
Oh, my goodness.
So anyway, I think those are interesting little philosophical questions, but I don't think because of the scale of our market, they're realistic. I answered about sort of my guess on volume. To incentivize owners to do rentals. I mean, I think you have to incentivize people to build rentals. I mean, you got.
The problem we have with a lot of the people who have the garage apartments right now with the demographic we have in town, I've talked to 2 or 3 of my customers who have these beautiful little garage apartments. They're saving it for what they're going to need as a caregiver in the next 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I had 2 or 3 people who had beautiful detached garage apartments, and I said, have you ever thought about, a young guy who wants to be a fireman or an ambulance guy or anything like that? And, her eyes light up until she realizes that, next year she's going to need a nurse.
Not the ambulance driver.
Yeah. Yep, so those are sort of my thoughts.
Well,
it is, you look at the statistics that I presented to the EDC, the pricing is, but we still sell stuff below replacement cost, right? So it's super, that's why there's not tons of construction. The health code's nearly impossible to navigate. A lot of the good land is conserved in town. So the land that's left is marginal for the most part, a lot of wetlands,
Yep.
so tough.
I added this 6th one in the revised list. Maybe it's worth reading out.
Yes,
In
do it.
Vermont, there's a statewide organization known as Home Share Vermont. It envisions an elderly or disabled homeowner being matched up with a local live-in worker for a fee who provides ancillary care for the owner while working their regular job in town. Are there homeowners for whom this would be a most helpful and agreeable solution?
Sarah Guimet is who you would ask that question.
Say again?
Sarah Gannett.
Sarah Guimet,
Yeah.
She does the home care.
she
She
has
does
business
care
that sort of
placement.
does stuff like that.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. It's a it's basically like a caretaker.
Yeah.
Right? But not just necessarily for property, but,
Licensed or anything like
right,
that.
just like can do some. With the aging population we have, that's an interesting, I'll definitely go to that website and just see what it looks like.
The problem with that is there's not enough employment in town for that guy to subsidize his income. And that lady is not going to be able to pay him enough to make a living wage, even though he's living for free. You think about the chance for employment in the town, in the center of Washington, which if you're going to be, some kind of a nursemaid or caretaker for one of these individuals, they're going to want you to work close. There's 10 jobs at the supply company, 4 at the Hickory Stick, 3 or 4 at the gas station, etc.
There's a whole teaching cohort of about, I think 40% of the people who commute into this town from elsewhere are in the school system.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of workers that that commute in, and actually the payroll jobs in Washington has grown. I was just looking at the data because the new POCD is coming out shortly. So they're all doing different things, but there's a possibility, right? That there could be a young teacher or somebody who wants to move to town, can't find housing, and they get matched up.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's working at Marty's or the supply, right? And would rather not drive in from Torrington or New Milford. It's possible. It might not be the only solution, but an option.
Yeah, very, very few of my experience of people who work in the true service industries can live in town. Right, I mean, my industry is a service industry, but
It's different.
different, professional services, very different than, working at the grocery store, or the gas station.
Retail, restaurant.
Retail, or whatever.
Mhm.
Those people struggle to find staffing for the most part. And I'm not aware of any of their staffing that lives in town.
Well,
Well, that's what we're
think you
trying
hit
to
it.
provide for.
Yeah,
I think you hit it right on the head earlier. This is, at least from a model point of view, a resort town. And if you look at resort towns, particularly ski towns, for instance, in Colorado, they've had this problem now for the last 50 years. Where they have huge commutes, where it looks like you're driving into New York City in the mornings to get into Aspen, for instance, because everybody's commuting in. And the only way that they can solve that is literally by building
in town.
large
housing.
apartment
Yeah.
complexes to meet the needs of these people.
I mean, I go to Sun Valley builds its own housing for its staff.
Yeah, I read about
They
that.
have employee housing. They have to.
What I'm afraid of is that if we don't do it or do something like it, we'll turn out to be another Warren. Where you just drive through a ghost town.
And we have a pretty vibrant population. I think, I think the census is grossly wrong in this town personally. I think that if you counted up people who sleep here 4 nights a week, population is more like 5,000, 5,500. And I don't think that number's going down. I also think of the vitality of Washington Depot, or even, the commercial centers is not just dependent on the people who live within our borders. People who live in Southern Warren and who live in Marial and Northville and Roxbury and Woodbury, they all come here. A lot of people come here. You look at the zip codes on the charge receipts at the farmer's market on Saturday,
Oh, yeah.
all over the place. And so we have something here that attracts people. I don't think that will go away, but I don't think we're ever gonna be, Borden's Milk Company again in the depot, or the Matchstick Company. Like, that's done. Can we have more professional services jobs here? Maybe, that are, residents who can afford to live here, maybe, but you've got to attract those kinds of businesses, and that's not a t-shirt shop or a bookstore or a deli or, whatever. That's, those are industries where people can make because you need to make a real living to live here now.
But that's what we're trying to do, make it more livable for more people.
But it almost
livable.
sometimes feels like you're making it more livable for the person making $18 an hour, $20 an hour. And those people need a place to live.
Yeah.
I totally agree, and I think the only way to solve for that is to bond $25 million and build a 30-unit apartment building. That's my personal opinion. I might be wrong, but that's my opinion. For people who come here and become a local lawyer or a real estate agent, or like I have a person who just joined me who was a Broadway actor, and I think he's gonna be great at my job. He might make 200 grand a year. I mean, and he's already got a house here because he had a successful career, but he'll be a vibrant community resident. He'll be engaged in civic stuff and, but that's the new resident. It's not somebody who's pumping gas at Titus. We need a couple of those, but like that business is not gonna grow. We don't need another gas station.
No, but
In your experience.
Yeah.
And this is something I've been grappling with all the time, is that everybody says, we don't want to have people having to commute into town, they'd rather live in town. What is a reasonable commute where people, where it becomes less of a factor? I mean, if you have an apartment in New Milford and you have to come in here to teach class, is that an unreasonable commute in your view?
No. I would say
Or-
30 minutes.
Or Torrington? or
30,
something like
30
that?
minutes.
I would say 30 minutes.
So are we sort of not taking into account that it's not just Washington, we have this area where there's much more affordable housing than we would have here.
But it's parts of New Milford. I mean, New Milford struggles with it too in its own way. Torrington doesn't struggle so badly with, I mean, we have one of our agents who works with a developer who's done a whole bunch of apartments right on Main Street. They're like $1,400 to $1,600 a month. They rent them. They're really nice. they're like nice studios, small 1 bedrooms. But that's, the town basically had to give the guy the buildings and waive taxes for 10 years. Like, they knew they had to do something to get him to do that stuff. And here, if we're gonna send you a bill for your bed, like, it's just not gonna happen.
Well, but I think there's another group of people that we want to be able to support, and that's the volunteers, so the volunteer fire department,
Yeah, it's,
for all the volunteers.
yeah.
And,
Listen,
and younger, we want younger people to populate the schools and,
I
and,
mean, I hear you. I also, go to New Canaan, the schools are full. Not a lot of people living below the poverty line in New Canaan, right?
Right.
So, I'm just saying, is your expectation realistic, right? Because I think if you look at people who are gonna work in Washington and earn less, who need a full-time income, because there are a lot of people who have jobs that are, it's a retirement job or whatever. But if you actually are paying your bills and you're making less than 60, 70 grand a year, how many of those jobs are there really? They're not that many. There's the restaurants, the grocery store, the hardware store, the little bits of retail that we have. And if you go to New Preston, where retail does okay, it's all owner operated, right? They got a few staff, but it's all owner operated, like Fran,
Most of the.
most stuff here
neighborhoods
is owner
do.
operated too, but there is a staff component. So we should add up how many jobs there really are that we're trying to support, because if you build that much more housing for people who need to pay $1,200 a month, like, they're gonna have to go get jobs somewhere else. They're not
I
gonna-
think it was my understanding that even teachers are having a hard time buying houses here. So
Yeah.
it isn't just,
Yeah, no, it isn't.
We had teachers just go into the,
Habitat.
what are the Habitat home.
Yeah.
yeah.
Two-
So
two
it's
figures.
population.
Because we don't have the middle.
Yeah, but the
housing.
teachers are like, I'm putting them at sort of the next price.
Yeah,
range,
but they are
60
actually
to-
right on the edge. They
Right.
qualify for
Yeah.
they meet
Yeah.
the state CHAFA
Yeah.
income.
I think
Like
it'd be
barely.
great to have all your teachers live in town. I mean, that's community, right?
Yeah.
That's, that would be fantastic.
I think all is unrealistic, but so as
Yeah.
as a
Just
commission, we're
Yeah.
trying to make an
Yeah.
improvement, and I think I'm curious, Daryl, you said people are always asking for 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, ever 3 bedrooms or just 1 and 2 bedroom?
Well, you think about most families. I mean, it's the mom and dad, the boy and the girl, so it's 3 bedroom. Yeah. I mean, absolutely. I mean,
Because I feel like, as
but there's a
long
lot
as
of there's a lot of
demand-
single people who don't want to spend the extra money, Michelle, too. So, it's a combination of all the above that people are asking for. I mean, I've got, a couple of single bedrooms that, there's a laundry list of at least 6 or 8 people. Blaine from Marty's, he's all over me because his nephew graduates this year and he's going to take over Marty's. So Blaine wants his nephew to move to town, but there's no place for him to live. So he's begging me for an apartment, but I don't have one available right now.
I'm glad you shared that, because I'll keep that in mind, but,
I
So
mean, it's
that's-
like, I mean, if I had my choice, I mean, I would figure out some way to put up a little panel in the housing commission, go to the first selectman and say, listen, we need a couple $1,000,000. We're going to buy one of these 2 buildings, whether it be the Rumsey building on Sabaday or what do you call it on 202, the old Eagle Rest on 202. We're going to renovate it into 3 2-bedrooms, 1 and 2 3 bedrooms, and we're going to rent it out at a reduced rate. And an ambulance person, and you got to give the town at least whatever. I mean, you can come up with some sort of a thing, and you'd be full all the time.
it's an interesting thought, because that would come online much faster than any of the new housing we're trying to develop and get grants through the Department of
You
Housing.
guys are.
Like, that's a 5 to 10 years plan. We know that.
It's a great idea, but I think you'll get nowhere if the town has to do it. If the town
just has
can
to
raise
do
the
it.
money, if they can raise the money and give it to the trust or to some other organization that can do it. But to say, okay, now you have to build up a staff that's gonna manage
Yeah,
this
no,
and everything else.
that's never
Isn't
gonna
gonna
really
work.
fly.
But if it's just money, I
worth
think it's a
trying.
great idea.
Worst thing they can do is say no. Right? I mean, if we never ask.
Raising the money, if you,
Enough. Hmm?
You could raise the money with a dozen phone calls to buy the building. How you manage the building after you bought it and started renting it out, that's the only thing you got to figure out. I know there's a laundry list of customers of mine who would be more than happy to dip into their own account and give us 10 grand, 100 grand, 50 grand to build affordable housing just for this reason, because I've talked to a lot of them. The money's there. We just got to figure out who would manage it after it was built out. Raising
And
the
you-
$2 million, to build it, you could have it in 6 months.
And you don't think the housing trust could run that the way they run their other?
I, I, I
Well,
don't
they'd
know
have
if they're
to
be,
get
I don't know if they'd be
more
willing to.
They'd have to have more staff.
Well, they met, it's correct, no, it's not correct. But who does Anne Marie work for? You know, they
She manages,
outsource
yeah.
to a management for the rental, you know, she collects the rents and
Right.
handles the on the ground stuff.
Well, see, that's why I don't know if you want to get involved in it. I think if we somehow could manage it in-house, so this way we could put a stipulation on it. If you're going to live in one of these apartments, you have to be a fireman. You have to be an ambulance person. And I don't think the trust wants to get involved with that.
Discrimination, we can't really
There
do
are a lot
that.
of fair housing rules you gotta be careful about, Daryl.
Well, anybody can be a fireman and an ambulance person. You can do book work for the fire department. Even if you're crippled, I mean, there's always room in the volunteer organizations for anybody who wants to be a volunteer.
But we can't stipulate that.
Why not?
Can't you
Because it,
stipulate they have to work in the town of Washington? I don't know.
I don't-
These are-
That you have to volunteer an hour a week in the town of Washington for a reduced rate? You think that's somehow, I don't have
I
any.
don't think that's a bad idea, but I don't think it's
I
possible.
think it's allowed,
You need
there's
to
sort of
Talk to a lawyer.
soft
Yeah.
ways around it, but we can't go on record. Anyway,
Stop the tape.
it's an interesting thought, like, we can talk about it, I think we should try to put together a plan, proposal.
I think it's a great idea.
Put my name on the committee.
Will you show up, Daryl?
Already on the
Yeah.
committee, Daryl, jeez.
You guys have any other questions for me?
No, but I really appreciate you coming here. I think you have given us a lot of food for thought and some really important information, so thank you.
Well, if, I do a presentation for Michelle to the EDC, she can share that with you. if you
I think I've got it up online
If you
already.
care
Okay.
about it, it has some statistics about housing in general.
Well, that would be good for us too.
It's not easy to get things like, what's the actual unit count of housing units in town? Like, all that information is, the assessor should be able to get to you like that, but.
Yeah.
That's another
But we
conversation.
know that the census data is not
Census
correct.
data
Completely
approaches.
incorrect.
And I think, it feels like a willingness of the people who are here, as Daryl mentioned, who have a lot of resources to say, if this is being put to good use, I'm willing to pay. Right? I think, Daryl, more than asking 10 people for 100 grand each, it's tacking on the mill rate. I know that affects everybody, but I think then everybody has buy-in.
Yeah,
And that's a lot different than 10 people fund something that goes not next to those 10 people, it goes next to somebody else. Right? You're gonna have a fight, you're gonna have the NIMBY fight. No matter, you're gonna have it at.
Well, not if you're doing what you were suggesting, taking existing
It's
buildings
already
that
there.
are already apart.
You'll get a little bit of pushback.
But
from neighbors, yeah.
No,
Not
not nearly as much.
That's a great first
Yeah.
step.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of
To
apartments.
me, it's a no-brainer, the two that are out there, like. Even if it's $5 million, who cares? It's 10 units or it's 9 units or whatever,
It'll
that
take
you
us
don't,
forever
that you
to
don't
get
have
them.
today, and will take forever.
Mhm. So in your opinion, is there anything that the housing commission should consider with short-term rent, like going to zoning with, like, is there any?
Listen,
Or is that just a
short-term
waste of
rentals
energy?
is a very political item, right? If you wanna start a fight with like a lot of people, start talking about short-term rentals. There's, I don't know, 100-something towns in Connecticut. There's 100-something sets of rules about short-term rentals. Roxbury just passed a registration requirement, all this stuff. There are a couple of people who don't like short-term rentals that are next to them right now, cause it's a party every weekend in the summer. I get that. If I spent $3 million on a house and I had 12 cars in the driveway next to me every single weekend, all summer long, I'd be a little annoyed. I'm a human being, right?
Yeah.
I came up here for my piece, not to be next to a bachelorette party every weekend. And you know, that's going on. But it doesn't happen all the time. And, you know, I don't think we're at a place where it's a disaster. It's not like, you know, in Charleston, for example, short-term rentals are limited to certain districts of town. They have to be fully registered, vetted, fire, I mean, all these rules are insane. In other places, you know, like I rented a short-term rental in Italy, the police showed up, inspected, looked for the license, looked for the stuff, you know. I think they were trying to shake me down, but you know, you know, everybody's got different rules. Some towns have just banned them outright. I mean, Sherman, Woodbury, 30-day minimum rental. And if you do it, they'll issue a cease and desist. If they can track you down, they're trying to get people to stop. So there are towns who are saying no to short-term rentals. And it is impossible to argue that they don't take houses out of the housing stock. They do. In our town, largely though, they are taking expensive houses out of the housing stock. I mean, there's nobody building affordable housing because the cost of construction is unaffordable, right? I mean, to build a vinyl sided thing still costs 400 grand,
Or
450.
500.
450,
Or
right?
five,
Five,
or
500.
five, and
Yeah,
it's
like, and that's
Modular housing.
modular vinyl
Yeah.
sided house.
Yeah.
That's what it costs. And you guys are gonna sell them for 280?
Mhm.
Well, we
So-
get, so we get subsidized.
No,
And
220, 180 to 220.
So, right, so there's no private money that's gonna come in here without help. And Vessel would in theory come here, but like the septic problem and the water problem would have to be
Well,
addressed.
also their density, I talked to them and looked at that, I mean,
It's like
they-
25 minimum units.
yeah, and then,
You get one building,
tough.
maybe you could get away with 2 buildings, 12 units each,
No.
but you know,
yeah, their model is a tricky
Yeah.
fit for us, cause we're just.
but like everybody says that. And you know what? You gotta
But like
bite
you
the
said,
bullet, put it in, and
No.
in 5 years, you won't think anything of it.
Maybe it. A harder fit for a town where it's the first apartment building versus, you know, a larger
I-
town
listen, I
where
get
there are multiple.
Yeah,
But yeah,
Bethel, you can read the articles about Bethel, they're fighting like that.
oh, no, I do, I
Yeah.
gotta.
And Bethel's gonna lose, right? They're gonna lose in court, because you can make them affordable. State, the judges are gonna say too bad.
Yeah. So basically, bottom line, at the end of all of that, you don't think the political fight for regulating or banning short-term rentals would achieve any gains that is,
No, not for affordability.
okay. I mean, that's kind of like.
I
the
mean,
bottom
and for
line.
some people who need to rent those rooms who are at the lower end of the price spectrum, it will hurt people who are making 80 grand a year and they rent a room out occasionally and it helps them pay their electric bill. You're gonna hurt those people.
Right,
And, you
We don't
know,
wanna do that.
Steve Rennie's got all this stuff for sale, except for the 2 on his driveway, so, you know, but there are 3 million down to 1.5 million, so it's outside your mandate anyway, who cares?
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Who cares?
okay, cool,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for
You're
your
welcome.
time.
Yeah,
Very helpful, thank you.
Yeah.
it's a Herculean task,
Yep.
but I think, you know, take a big bite.
Pell says, go
It's
big or go
so
home, I get it, I
It's
wrote
so-
it down.
Anyway,
Okay,
those are my thoughts.
thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Nice to meet you.
Really appreciate your help.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, do we have any more comments that we want? I mean, do we want to pursue this? I mean, in the future, not at this meeting. but not-
I think that
Fence
it really brings up,
does.
it really brings up a whole issue. Woody and I were talking about this at dinner the other night. And the business plan, in my view, needs to be relooked.
You mean the housing?
The whole, the whole plan has to be relooked in terms of the direction that we're going in. I don't agree that you have to go big or go home. But I think he's halfway there, he's halfway right, but the fact is that there's no way that we're ever gonna meet the 10% goal, right? But even to meet 30 housing units, we're not gonna do it with single family homes. So that pretty well
Right.
puts that out. If you want to reach that in time to meet your goal, or the goal that you set, the time goal, you will have to do multifamily.
And that's what we're gonna be doing.
And that's
On
what-
the
and that-
Judea Springs.
And that-
And that's the one that's
And
gonna
that
be the
goal was
hardest.
set
politically.
that way.
Excuse
The
me?
goal was set figuring 10 single-family homes and 20-ish apartments, which would be one larger development, like a Dodge Farm, like a Judea Springs.
Right.
Like that, anything more than that seemed beyond reasonable. And to even have almost 30 in the pipeline between rentals and the single family is actually a huge movement, because nothing had happened in a decade or more, almost 2 decades. So I completely understand, but there's been a lot of progress made, and things have started, and the Habitat houses count, and there've been some Chatham, or like a few things, some have come online and some are in the works, so that's
Zoning,
exciting.
I mean, the fact is that zoning has come along. It's not.
Yeah,
like-
that
it's
was
not like
huge.
They're sitting there digging their heels in. They've come a long way.
Well, they never had the multifamily housing. I mean, since the eighties.
Exactly.
Yeah, so.
So at least that's a
been
possibility.
made. I mean, it's just baby steps, it's little tiny.
But the idea of taking existing places and taking them over. See, the key for me, anyway, the key mental flip that we might have to make is the role that this organization, our little organization has. And I see our present course as being non-productive. I don't see us being of any great help to get to where we want to go. I mean, we're there to help.
Well, we have gotten some money, much more money than we've had in the
But
past, so
not-
that,
And regulatory change.
and yeah,
And but our function has been to basically grease the skids for the housing trust. That's really the way
Yeah,
I see it. right?
definitely. Well, that's
And
kind
I'm
of
saying
like,
we need to go beyond that, and we need to be raising the money to buy the properties. Not wait for somebody to give it to the housing trust, and then we help them. It's got to be
Well-
the other way around.
well, we did that by having the $330,000 put into our account.
But
Requesting it, but maybe we need to ask for a much bigger amount and have it go towards the possibility of purchasing these houses.
that's where I'm
Well,
trying.
and we also updated the ordinance that would allow us to buy property that has an existing home.
Yeah.
We weren't even allowed to do that until we updated the ordinance, so that's just
That's all I'm
like
saying is.
baby
that-
steps. So I think it would be really interesting to put together a proposal or a plan for the. probably the-
Purchasing one of those?
Yeah, I don't.
Or
know.
both of them?
Well, I
Well,
think the 10-bedroom one,
But if you go for both, I mean, at least you're starting from a point where they can.
Well,
you might
maybe
get
one.
one. So,
Yeah.
I mean, to me, you put a proposal together for both for existing housing, since we can do that. And then you can negotiate with the town at that point, but I wouldn't start with, for one, and then come away with nothing. So you might as well go big and just see what happens.
I
It's-
think, I hear you, and if, maybe, I think it's a lot, though, there's gonna be a lot to coordinate, and once we purchase it,
But we haven't gotten.
then we have to renovate it, that needs a lot of work.
But you haven't gotten to yes yet. What I'm saying is, you put a proposal together, knowing that we are now allowed to purchase existing housing. There are 2 that are on the market now that would meet our needs, or meet the needs for affordable housing. So at least at that point, you have a proposal that you can work with the town on,
Yeah.
and you may wind up just working or getting approval for one. But I wouldn't just go for the one.
I
is
see what you're
I'm
saying, to get the money,
Yeah.
yep.
And I think that the key though, before we go in and try to get this done is. Where's the handoff? How does the handoff happen? And if you're saying, the trust doesn't have the bandwidth,
But we don't.
then. There's no way that the town can take on the continued responsibility. So
Not
unless there's a
only-
handoff.
Yeah, no,
This
there would have
doesn't
to be a handoff. There would have to be a handoff because not only does the town not have the capability, I don't think they want to, the political will is not there for that either, but.
So
The
what if the
purchase-
housing commission's just hired an independent contractor to manage the building?
Possible, maybe.
I mean, there are people out there who are, I mean, if it's only a 10-bedroom apartment or a five unit building, I mean, that's an hour a day to walk by and make sure nothing's leaking, especially if you just renovate. Everything's going to be brand new. I mean, I don't,
Yeah, but
I,
Daryl,
and I don't mean to make light of it, but I manage my building and, I've got 6 apartments down there. So, it's not, once it's rebuilt, I mean, management is like, you need to find a manager, maybe a
Yeah.
guy who lives in one of the apartments.
Daryl?
Yeah.
You also have insurance for liability and everything else, right? The last thing I would like to see this town do is take on property as an asset that has all kinds of liability, and there's a lot of liability that comes with it. I mean, I'd rather, as a taxpayer, say, okay, I like the idea of raising the money, either through taxes or take it out of your budget, buy the property, but I don't want you to own it. I don't want you to be liable for, for all kinds of lawsuits.
I think it needs to go to the trust. In my mind, the question is. It's the renovating part and. Hopefully they could just hire somebody to oversee
Well,
the
they don't-
renovation. I mean,
They
it's a
build
big,
homes, they build apartments.
yeah.
Why can't they renovate one? How much harder is it to renovate one than to?
Well,
build
they just have several things going on right now, but.
Right.
But, so they might have to hire somebody in order to accomplish that, but I think it needs to go to the trust, but the town. Would probably need to initiate that. I think we should put together a proposal and. The reason I with a little bit of urgency, because I think this should be going before the selectmen, before the January budget meetings start for next year. Because
So.
my guess is this would go in as a budget request.
So let me ask you this, doesn't it make sense that somebody should be talking to somebody now? And saying, hey, listen, this is what we're thinking about, how are you reacting to this? I mean, to go to Jim and say, how are you reacting to this? Or go to a couple of people on the finance committee. And say, what do you think if we came up with a plan that looked like this? Is this dead on arrival?
I think the Board of Selectmen would most likely be on board. They've been very supportive of.
But they'd have to go to the finance.
They do, and there's an election in November, so I would wait on that conversation.
Okay.
What about talking to the trust to let them know
Absolutely.
first?
Well, absolutely. Well, we're so far, I mean, the, first of all, just getting the listing price and getting a sense of how much work is needed. That's a big job, and
So
hopefully
who would-
Daryl could help with that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask
I've,
Derek.
I've already got the 202 one done because I was going to buy it. So
Okay, that's
I-
fantastic.
you-
Right, did
So
you
you
get
can
an
give it,
inspection?
can you give us that information?
yeah, we can, maybe Charlie, myself and Michelle can sit down and we can, if Charlie wants to be involved, whoever wants to be maybe a threesome, we can sit down and walk the building and show you some
Yeah.
ideas of what we thought of back in the day and go from there.
Yeah,
So
So
what about Sunny Ridge?
what
Sunny Ridge, so that the other one.
about the other one?
Well, the
Darryl?
other one, again, it's a dorm. I mean, it's not that bad a project. I mean, yes, it has to be totally gutted because the sheetrock's messed up. It's laid up as a dorm. There's 2 apartments, 2 full-blown apartments where the teachers used to stay, but everything else is just a dorm set up with a couple of large bathrooms. So it's just a matter of somebody, with an eye just going through, well, here could be an apartment. Here could be an apartment. I mean, it's not, there's already a fire escape at it. The septic is fairly large. It's got a good water supply because it's right on the aqueduct there. So, both places, are really prime for whatever. I mean, the only issue with the 202 thing is there was some going back and forth with the septic right now is designed as a 19-person septic system. We have to just verify with whomever that they're gonna cross over 19 people to however many bedrooms. That's one thing they wouldn't do for me, and that's the reason I backed away, but it's been a year since I looked at it with the Devereux people personally. And before they gave it to a real estate agent. So again, maybe they've had an engineer come in and say 19 people equals 10 bedrooms, and you're good to go.
Would you share your septic system with them, won't you?
How about your water? Would you send your water over there too?
Brought a will.
All
All
right,
right, so Michelle, Daryl, Charlie, can you get together at some point within the next month to
Mhm.
come up with something? And
Yeah,
maybe,
let's pick a day in the next couple of weeks. We'll get Pels to open the building up. We can walk through it, and I'll share what I have, and we can go from there.
sounds good to me.
okay,
I will not, I am out of the country for almost the whole month of September. So you guys are on your own.
Are you getting a short-term rental while you're overseas?
Yes, very short term, about 2 or 3 nights each.
Hey, guys,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I got to get back inside to my wife. I've been outside way too long. I apologize.
Oh,
But Michelle, literally, why don't we send out an email and maybe we can get together in the next week or so and do that.
okay, I will
All
do
right.
that. Got
All
it
right.
started on my agenda. Thanks,
Okay, we
Daryl.
still have an agenda to go
All right.
through.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Not that there's much to say, because the Baldwin Hill property, at the last meeting that, we have a monthly meeting with, the Litchfield County Center for Housing Opportunity. And they are great at getting things, getting Bill to, do what he's supposed to be doing. So the last I heard that there was gonna be a bill for some more engineering there. And I asked him to get it to us for tonight, so we could act on it, but we don't have it. So that's still, ongoing. Judea Springs, that's still going, same the way it was. I am, as I said, I'm gonna be out of town, starting Monday until, October 3rd. There's 2 events, there's an event, September 29th. There's the Housing Summit, which, Michelle and I and Woody have gone to previously. So I will not be able to be there. Who can go?
I'm gonna be away.
You're gonna be
Yeah,
away.
My kids.
Woody, can you go again? Charlie, you wanna go?
I can't go, I won't be able to,
You what?
I won't be able to.
No.
I'm going. I'm
Okay.
already registered.
All
And I-
right,
and
so
I-
one of the things is they want, a table, you know all about that, right? Yeah, I copied that too.
Okay,
So we want a table. Bill said he will be there.
okay,
Um,
maybe it's just the two.
well, maybe we can get some other people from his
The trust.
group. So any materials that you have,
Yep.
somebody has to be there at 4:45.
I would-
You've got all the
Yep,
information.
I've got it all. And I can bring it, I've already emailed asking about a table. I've got the tablecloth and all
They
the
have a
the
table.
visuals and stuff. But, this is what I wanted to ask. It says they're gonna be voting on the ones that are the most informative and the most fun and engaging. Fun and engaging, anybody?
What are the hours?
So the summit is from 5 to 7. They asked to arrive by 4:15 for setup,
Oh,
but the thing is, there's a 4 o'clock ribbon cutting that I had on my calendar right next door, so I'll figure it out. The groundbreaking ceremony's at 4 for the Sharon.
Oh, for the Sharon.
Yeah, so I'll figure it out. So 4 to 7? 4:30 to 7?
Can you do that, Woody? Or
Yes.
not? Or, yeah, great. I'm sorry to miss it because I thought it was great.
It's always, It's always great. So I had one thought for a fun and engaging, I don't know if it's that fun or.
I'm all ears.
Well, I was just thinking if we, we've got our posters, I'll have the newsletter and all of our literature. And if we had, like a raffle, like a question, people guess the average price of housing in Washington, or what do you think, it's something, some kind of fact.
And have,
which-
and give a prize.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if we pull, I don't know what we would give for a prize.
well,
But
we can have a basket of stuff, that's
We could-
always fun.
yeah, I mean, we would just put it together, or everybody contribute
Yeah.
one thing to it or something, we could each bring a bottle of wine and put it
Yeah.
together. I don't know. Does that,
I can give you a couple bottles of wine if you want.
oh, them.
Okay.
That would be great. okay.
Two bottles of red wine on me.
Super, okay, so we'll give away a basket.
And I
I'll
will,
get
I
a
will
bas-
get some other stuff to put in it.
Awesome.
A bottle of wine.
Find some stuff.
I'll figure out something.
All right, you guys are great.
Get
So now I
So we're
just have
gonna
to
bring it
think.
to your office. That's what I'm
Okay.
I'm gonna
Get some
bring it
grain
this week.
alcohol in there too.
That's great.
What
Okay,
did you
so.
say, Charlie?
Get some grain alcohol in there.
All right, so does that seem?
I think
good?
that's
We
fine.
ask a question, how
Yes.
sometimes you have to guess like how many M&Ms are in
Yeah,
a jar or
yeah.
something, but we're gonna have them guess a housing question.
Yeah.
And if you have do you think you should be able to answer it by the literature on the table, or are we just randomly guessing?
I don't
Go
know.
through our housing
Yeah.
plan and tell us.
Well, I mean,
What
right,
is
we
it?
have lots of handouts and flyers and, I don't know. Or it could, well,
Whatever turns you on.
okay, I'll figure something out.
Donate.
Raffle.
A lot of people will donate, we'll say, if you guess it right, we'll give you a house. How's that?
Oh, yeah, we'll talk, the Baldwin Hill, I should say about the Baldwin Hill property. There were two families that completed the final application for the house that qualified for it. And it was supposed to be a lottery. And I don't know what's happened since, but that was last week when we had the meeting. And it's
Okay.
like, so somebody's gonna get that house, but there were only two people. One I think has three children. The other one, I think, is just one child.
How many bedrooms?
Pardon me?
How many bedrooms in that house?
Three.
3 bedrooms.
3 bedrooms, 2 baths.
It's the same one we
Is it-
walked.
Yeah,
through.
same one we walked through.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's a cute house.
yeah. What else? Oh. So the next Litchfield County Center Housing Opportunity meeting with Bill is on September 22nd at 3:00, and I will not be here in the country. It's on Zoom. Only 2 people can show up from this committee, from this commission. Otherwise, it's a public meeting. It has to be a public meeting. So 2 people can go. But does anybody want to go to this?
I-
I can go.
I
Okay, so,
tentatively
I've been there.
committed myself to something else.
okay,
Might
so,
not happen.
It's the 22nd?
yeah.
I don't have anything.
At 3
So
o'clock?
Henrietta, I will send you, when they send me the information, or I'll tell them to send the information to you.
I-
It's at 3:00,
Yeah, I think.
and
it's
it doesn't take any more than an hour. Usually less.
Okay.
I've gone to 1 or 2.
Yeah,
It's
you've
usually
been-
just a progress
Yeah.
on the
Right.
properties, which is helpful.
Yeah,
At 2:00?
3:00,
3.
3:00 on the 22nd.
Tomorrow is the regional housing.
Yeah, are you going to
meeting.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
I'm gonna let you go to that.
that's fine, that's fine.
I have so much on my plate.
No,
with
I
this
know, you're
trip.
leaving soon.
I know, okay,
Yeah,
okay, so you'll take care of that.
yep.
All right, is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up?
I've just 2 questions. First of all, what's that door for up there? And the the second one is, does anybody know what has happening to the Wickham Rise property?
It's
That's Judea Springs, right?
what?
No. Wickham Rise.
Oh, Wickham
No.
Rise, oh, that,
You mean,
101
you mean
Yeah.
the big zoning issue?
Yeah, is it, I mean, is it still in stasis or is
I
it,
think so.
so nothing's happening
Not,
yet?
not that I know.
As far as I know, it's for sale.
oh,
It's for sale?
Mm-hmm.
It is?
I mean, I don't, there's not a for sale sign out there. It's like a word of mouth.
the original person's
That's all,
gone.
because
No, they just wanna sell it and the development rights, cause I don't think they wanna do it anymore.
you have any idea what they're asking for it.
Crazy amounts of money. I've heard, I forget actually. 15 million, 20 million, I don't know,
But,
big numbers for a piece of property with birch out buildings on it,
Oh, my God.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
So I saw something about a community day. I don't know, I think it was on one of the selectmen's things that there's gonna be a community day in October.
Oh, that's the Harvest
that-
Festival?
Yeah, yeah. Are we gonna do a table? I don't think
Yeah.
I'm gonna be here though. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up, but
We will, but that
Oh.
would be after our next meeting.
after the next meeting.
Yeah.
But not much after,
No, it's
so,
about the end of the week.
yeah, so is the
Hopefully.
intention to participate?
She said she can.
What's
Oh,
the-
yeah, I think we should.
Yeah. What's the date again? I thought I was.
October 13, I believe it is, it's the Sunday,
Yeah.
That's a Sunday. I'm
the
coming
holiday
back that
weekend.
day.
October 12th, maybe. That's Sunday.
Sunday?
Oh, then it's 12. Okay, yeah, it's that weekend, I
Oh,
forget
okay.
actual date. Before we sign up for a table, I think the housing commission should just make sure that there are a couple people.
Well, I will
who
be.
would be there,
I will be
cause the
there.
EDC is also in the arts council.
Yeah.
So, okay. I mean, I'm happy to help, but I can't.
What's the overall name of that day again? The
Harvest Festival.
Harvest Festival.
A harvest festival.
Um. Do you want to fill out the application for the,
Okay,
okay,
yep, I'll sign up
Okay.
the housing commission. I haven't signed anybody up yet, so I'll do that.
okay.
I usually kind of go on and do them all at once.
Yep. I plan on being there and anybody else that. Bill will probably be there and anybody else that wants to show up. It'd be great. And you won't be here.
No, I'm gonna be.
You'll be
helping with
di- you'll-
babies.
Yeah. Babysitting,
For almost a couple weeks.
really? Oh,
Ah, that'll be fun. Last thing, I just wanna say, I put the multifamily housing regs on the housing. Website.
oh, you did? I didn't see
Oh,
that.
this
Was
is
that
the
just this
zoning?
week?
I don't, it's like relatively recently,
Zoning thing for.
but you know what, here, wait, do we have 2 seconds? I can just pull it up because.
Well, I was just gonna look and see,
I've got a lot,
I'll
because I'm gonna be in trouble, so.
Okay.
cause you gotta go see your wife too.
Um,
Well, I have no.
is that okay if I, Judy, is it okay if I take off? If I don't-
Yes, your excuse. We can adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, the meeting is adjourned as of,
Wow, this is all.
what, 6:55?
That was a long one.
Talk to you later.
Uh,
We talked about it before.
Okay, so I'm just gonna quick share my screen so that you all can see it.
Bye, Shirley, thank you.
Bye all. Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Bye.
Donna.
Bye, Donna. So. Okay, so here's the housing commission page. I put it right here, new multifamily zoning regs. Should I call it something else?
Is that the interactive one or is that a PDF?
No,
gosh,
it
I don't
is
have-
just a PDF of just those pages.
Oh. Oh, it's not too bad, it's 7.
Why isn't this good?
I mean,
Yeah,
I debated the new case, but I think multifamily, hopefully if people are looking for it, they can find it. I haven't tried, I don't think our website has a search function, so,
It doesn't have what?
I think
search.
I will go home and read it on my own laptop.
Yeah, no, you didn't have to
No,
read
you
it, I
don't
just
have to
wanted to
read
show
it.
you where it was. Let's see if we
Where
wanted to
is
put
it? Where is
somewhere
it?
else.
This is
Do
the,
you want to?
On the left.
oh, I see, okay. Excellent. Yay, thanks.
South of, I've got both eyes now.
Oh, God, can't believe, I still